Yo, what is going on, Comfy Gang? It's Comfy Neat here. So, if you guys are wondering what the intro of the channel was about, it was basically just to show how fucked I am. Just kidding. Well, kind of half joking, kind of not. But I recently fell down the VTuber rabbit hole, which is an extension of the anime rabbit hole, in my opinion. And I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like I'm just progressively getting more and more away from what society expects of a normal person. And some might consider this a new low. If it is a low, then it perhaps is a low which I never thought was possible for me to reach, but yet here I am. So in light of this, since some of you guys have asked me to talk about anime, I thought today would be a good idea to talk about I guess how I fell down the anime rabbit hole. And this will basically be discussing what happened during the 5-month period where I basically disappeared off the face of the internet, off Discord, off YouTube. And I'm going to be essentially talking about, and not in too specific detail, but just talk about the kinds of things I was watching and perhaps what effects it had on my mind. And if you're wondering why there's voices in the background, I just thought it was a funny coincidence that the person or the VTuber that I included in my intro was streaming. So I decided to put her stream in the background as sort of ambient background noise, as a sort of, I don't know, ironic whatever maneuver. But anyways, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm pretty deprived of sleep, but yeah, I'm gonna start the video. So I guess a little bit of background of my anime history prior to this 5-month period. It's not like this 5-month period was the first time that I watched anime in my life. I was watching anime before, and in fact I was actually a massive shonen tard, where I basically binged all of the major shonen anime out there, all of the quote-unquote big three of shonen, One Piece, Naruto, and Bleach. I finished all three. I also finished Dragon Ball Z, not Dragon Ball Z, some other, I think GT, and a lot of the major ones, Attack on Titan I was watching at the time, and Full Metal Alchemist for sure. But basically I went on a really long hiatus because fuck, the glare of the light's so fucking bright. I went on a long anime hiatus after watching so much shonen anime because I don't know, I guess when you binge watch what amounts to several thousand episodes of anime, and it's all the same genre, you kind of get tired of it. Your dopaminergic system kind of adjusts to the anime, so it starts to become less and less enjoyable, and you stop seeing anime in this new light, and you sort of lose that sort of like childlike innocence in a way, that's sort of where you don't really even subconsciously or consciously recognize all of the tropes and the cliches that are common to each genre. So because of that, because I got bored of shonen anime, I ended up taking a pretty long hiatus of around 2 to 3 years, where I barely watched any anime except for One Piece every Sunday, and and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which sort of took me out of that. But other than that, I'd also pretty much watched every single shonen anime out there that I knew of at the time. And that's why I didn't really watch much anime. But lo and behold, come this 5-month period where I binged a shit ton of anime, probably like 1,000 hours worth of anime, or 90 different shows. I basically hadn't watched anime in a while, and I was also getting pretty bored of YouTube. I was fairly bored of video games at this point, and I was looking for that next hit of dopamine, and I was also kind of burnt out from trying to be like an improver. So I decided to try and turn to anime one last time, give it one last shot, and also so I decided to give the anime Steins Gate a try because I had heard it was good from a lot of people. I knew from reading online stuff that it was supposed to be a classic, So I decided to check it out, and I think just the conditions surrounding my life basically made it the perfect storm, because I fell deep, deep in love with Kurisu. Excuse my shitty Japanese pronunciation. Oh my god. But I fell in love with Mayuse Kurisu. Fuck my life. And you know, this is for many reasons, which I could probably talk about in another video about, you know, why waifus are superior, some shit, but that's for another time. I fell in love with her, and this is probably punctuated by the fact that, you know, I had not fallen in love with an actual woman for a long, long time because of, you know, 3 years of isolation, and I honestly haven't seen that many women in the first place. So I think my brain was just itching for, you know, something to simp over maybe, and, you know, just witnessing her kindness and everything and her cute behavior, it really just made me become infatuated, and I dare say fall in love with a bunch of lines on a fucking screen, a bunch of pixels on my computer desktop screen. And yeah, and well, I really enjoyed the series, not just for the story, but because I really liked the female lead. So, you know, I wanted more of that. I was already a pretty compulsive binger of anime from, you know, from when I was in my shonen tar days, where I would binge watch, you know, at least 10 episodes a day if I could on the weekend, and sometimes a few on the weekdays as well. And because of that, I went straight back to that sort of pattern of behavior, and I basically just wanted to binge every single romantic anime out there and sort of relive that high I got from seeing Mayuse Kurisu be such a good tsundere, and also yeah, just fill the void in my heart from all the loneliness and the fact that I would never get to see any more Kurisu interactions, because I pretty much finished all the Steingates related material. So I, you know, I just jumped from series to series. I actually rewatched ReZero, which I thought was okay at first, but you know, some people call me a fucking, you know, hate on me for this, but I fell in love with fucking Emilia, because in my opinion, she's a fucking goddess. Like, you know, Zero Two. I know these are all like normie anime and people hate on me for this, but they're honestly pretty great, and I don't think something's bad just because a lot of people like it, just as something isn't bad because it's obscure. But that's besides the point. I went from series to series, and the thing about these romance animes is that, you know, or anime in general, is that, you know, a lot of them like to incorporate different genres, but it's specifically romance, harem, ecchi, and slice of life are all incorporated into every single anime out there, and they all take place in some sort of Japanese high school setting, like 95% of them. So yeah, because of that, when I was binging romance animes, I was also inadvertently watching harem anime, and, you know, the only distinguishing factor between them is that you know, some might vary in the ratio of harem to romance to ecchi to slice of life. And yeah, but anyways, I just watched a bunch, and eventually, for whatever reason, yeah, these are still kind of like semi-degen, but, you know, it's on the way there, because, you know, this is something really only a lonely guy in his 20s could actually appreciate. I'm pretty sure if you actually had any relationship experience, if I had actually had any, I would probably find this shit really cringe and insufferable. But because I don't, I ended up liking it a lot. And, you know, in my mind, all of these anime girls are, you know, platonic ideal abstractions of what women should be. So I enjoyed the shit out of all these animes, and eventually, for whatever reason, one day I've sort of remembered that when I was in high school, there was this sort of kind of like stereotypical chubby otaku guy with round glasses in one of my science classes, and he had this wallpaper on his laptop. Fuck, my throat hurts. talking. And he, it always sort of burned like an impression in my mind about, just how cute those anime girls were. So I basically tried to look up who these anime girls were, because I really wanted to watch the anime that they were from. And so I kept searching, and eventually I found the anime. And this, I guess, begins the next phase of my degen descent into quote-unquote degeneracy, even though it's actually not that bad, which I'll get to maybe later in the video. But the anime was K-On! And I had never seen anything like this anime. All I knew is that I wanted to see what exactly, an anime featuring these cute girls was about. I thought it was going to be like another harem anime, but, to my surprise, it was actually completely different from what I expected. And, it's not something that I thought that I would ever like, or at least I never thought I would like the idea of, quote unquote, cute girls doing cute things, moe anime. But drink some tea. But I actually ended up really enjoying it, because given how lonely I am and how little social contact I have, the fact that I have no real life in IRL friends, I found it really wholesome and refreshing. And it's just basically the fact that, you got to witness 4 different really cute anime girls with a, holy shit, I'm losing my voice, with a really close friendship, and just doing really cute shit. And I'd say that it really, really appealed to me in that way, because it was just so wholesome, and it's pretty much unlike anything I've ever witnessed in real life. Like, I've pretty much never witnessed anything like that, by anybody in real life. And I guess it's one of those things where it's one of those situations where anime actually, transcends real life and is actually better than it. And, for this reason, I really, really enjoyed K-On! But I feel like K-On! Was my introduction to moe anime, specifically anime that were entirely focused on, or predominantly focused on moe. Moe slice of life, I guess, is technically what it is. And after I saw it, I was hooked, and I wanted more, but I didn't really know where to look. So I looked for recommendations on YouTube, and I found this YouTube channel, and this channel recommended a bunch of different series, which I didn't really check out. But I think what I was trying to get to is that it sort of brought me to my next peg on the degen ladder, and that is, Ero Manga Sensei, Ora Emo, and Domestic Kanojo. So let me just clarify this by saying that by no means am I saying that these are degenerate anime. Well, they are slightly degenerate, but my point is that in the grand scheme of anime, they're not that degenerate. And in the grand scheme of existence, they're really not that bad. There's way worse shit out there. All the fucking weird types of fucking porn and fucking OnlyFans, even fucking Twitch streamers. That shit is all way worse than whatever is contained in these animes. But basically, I watched them in this order. I watched Domestic Kanojo first because I was told it was a dumpster fire, but I actually really fucking enjoyed it because, I don't know, I just really liked the idea of the whole forbidden love thing, specifically between the hot teacher and the student who is basically of age, except the teacher. I mean, people who don't know what I'm talking about, know nothing about this anime, are probably gonna grab their pitchforks and, automatically assume that the teacher was a fucking guy and, the student was a fucking girl, but it's actually swapped, which doesn't make it right. But I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit better for guys as long as they're, close to 18 versus, females where it's still kind of like dodgy and questionable. But anyways, yeah, so enjoy the shit out of this anime because it's just, it's kind of funny, but I didn't really find anything wrong with it. And another aspect of this anime that I sort of enjoyed was just, the whole like stepsister thing, which in my opinion I find nothing wrong with, but that's because I'm an only child, and I've never had any siblings, so obviously, this is, given that I'm enjoying this shit, it's totally normal behavior, totally normal, healthy human behavior. Like, obviously, if I had a sibling who was a sister and I enjoyed this shit, it's probably pretty fucked up. But given that I'm an only child, this actually makes it completely and 100%, normal and healthy. But, obviously I'm not being fucking serious, although I kind of am actually. But, so, yeah, there's that. And then I watched Eromanga Sensei next, and this anime gets a bad rap for obvious reasons. Knowing what I know now about anime, it's not that bad, but given that I am still fairly normie, and I was even more normie prior to watching this anime, I was sort of ended up enjoying it in an ironic sense, because part of me, the normal part of me that was controlled by my superego, according to Freud, it basically, thought that this shit was completely fucking degenerate. But, because I enjoyed K-On! And K-On! Made me fall in love with Moe, basically. This anime, although it's fairly degenerate, I personally don't think it was that bad. And also just the fact that it had a lot of, as much as you can hate on, Sagiri, she is pretty fucking moe, and it's pretty like cute in a wholesome way. Like, some people try and twist this and say it's some sort of perverse, thing, that my motivations are perverse, but it's really not the case. I just really found, it was comedic, it was cute, it was funny, and yeah, and God, this sounds fucking bad. But trust me when I say it's really not. And also just the fact that, obviously I would be against this anime 100% if it was actually, legitimizing this sort of, behavior. But the thing is that this anime is actually just one giant shitpost, in my opinion. If you pay attention, God, it's so fucking bright. When you pay attention to the music, just the whole the comedy aspect of it, the funny facial expressions, and just fucking everything, like, it's honestly just a giant fucking shitpost. And I found myself wanting to defend it from all the people review bombing it, giving it 1s and 2s and 3s on my anime list, because, well, just based on the animation, the quality of the animation and the sound design alone, it was at least a 5, if not a 6. I gave it a 7 because, as degenerate as it was, I was sort of, I just sort of found it funny, how fucking bad it was. I guess the normie part of me found it funny that way. I was probably trying to resolve some sort of cognitive dissonance in my mind from having actually, spent the time to watch all 12 episodes. But, I don't know anymore. I think it was fine. But anyways, the next one I watched after that was naturally Ore Imo, Ore something Nosuki, something Imoto, Dekinai, and fucking hell, I don't know fucking Japanese, don't fucking judge me. But yeah, I watched this anime, and it was basically the same as Eromanga, except it had a more cohesive story, and the characters were more likable, in my opinion. And it's just, in my opinion, they butchered the fucking ending, but otherwise it was fairly enjoyable. But I feel like those 3 anime together sort of marked my entry into my gradual descent into quote-unquote degeneracy. And, I know that it really isn't that bad, and, this is basically some normal fag shit as far as the grand scheme of anime goes. But yeah, from a normal person's perspective, even harem animes, which are just self-insert fantasies about attractive women who are two-dimensional fawning over you, are already pretty irregular and pretty deviant. So when you take into account the fact that you're throwing in, potentially incest, and you also, and it's, a lot of these stories have to do with fucking, people of fairly questionable age, then it gets pretty dodgy. And obviously, maybe I'm speaking for myself, but I think that the vast majority of people who watch this shit, a good portion of them are doing it ironically and just chuckling at the fact that it's so degenerate. But then you start to just enjoy watching degenerate shit because it's kind of like comedic in a way, just how degenerate you are as a person or how deviant you are as a person. And also just I don't know, maybe you start to misattribute the sort of positive emotions you get out of enjoying something ironically with the questionable anime itself. So you start to enjoy it in that way, or you just automatically like subconsciously start to laugh whenever you see degenerate shit. And I feel like that's pretty much the phase I'm at right now, where I'm not full on degen, but I'm also far past the point of being quote unquote normal. I'm in sort of like otaku purgatory, where I have one foot in the real world and one foot in fantasy land. And I feel like I'm slowly progressing towards, or not slowly, but honestly pretty quickly progressing towards just full-on degen stuff. But yeah, I'd say the anime that I guess the last one I'm going to talk about is the Monogatari series. I think this one is the one that sort of the straw that broke the camel's back and basically made me go full degen. And that's because, unlike the other animes which I've mentioned before, it was actually a fairly insightful anime and had a lot of interesting plot points, a lot of interesting characters, probably some of the most interesting characters in all of anime, and character interactions, and pretty, meaningful subtext and cinematography and everything like that. But at the same time, all of this effort is also put into the fan service in the anime. And there's also a lot of quote unquote problematic characters in this anime, which I'm saying problematic not because I find them problematic, but because, probably all the normies on Twitter and your average Joe Schmo on his fucking desk job, your average boomer probably would find the shit that goes on in the anime like just straight up, criminal. And it's really not that bad in my opinion. But not in my opinion. I have a pretty good argument for why it isn't bad. But yeah, anyways, it's specifically season 2, the release order season 2, episode 8, Nisa Monogatari. That is the straw that broke the camel's back and basically made me take the degen pill. I'm actually losing my fucking voice, so I'm becoming oh fuck my life. Becoming less and less, it's becoming harder and harder for me to enunciate, because I actually reshot this video several times because I kept stumbling, and because there's really no way to make this video short, so I pretty much given up on that by this take. I'm just gonna talk and talk until I'm done. But yeah, took the degen pill. Just that one scene, well actually the entire episode, but just that one scene, basically turned me into a fucking siscon, which is perfectly normal behavior because I'm an only child, and this is completely healthy and normal. But anyways, yeah, after that, I think that pretty much cements my descent into the anime rabbit hole, and I'm not all the way down yet. There's still a long way for me to go. The most recent one is me falling down the VTuber rabbit hole, but in my opinion, that's not even that degenerate. I'm not going to say degenerate even. I'd say my behavior is deviant and not degenerate, and I like to make that distinction because in my opinion, deviance merely refers to the fact that a behavior might be, unusual, outside of the norm, probably only represented in a very, very small percentage of the population. But is it morally reprehensible? No. Degeneracy, on the other hand, is just deviance. Well, it doesn't even have to be deviant. I think it just means morally reprehensible, but in a way that is addictive and that hopefully is what's it called, is a deviant behavior as well. But this is actually not the case when things like gambling, OnlyFans, pornography. There's actually way more degenerates who do that shit, and in my opinion, all that stuff is far worse than quote unquote problematic anime. So I think when I was calling myself a degenerate the entire time, I think what I meant to call myself was a quote unquote deviant. I really don't think there's actually anything morally reprehensible with what I'm doing. And the people who say that, you know, it's well, that's a topic for another video. If I have to, you know, defend anime, then I will. And I'm talking about all anime, not just you know, the mainstream stuff, but I mean like the entire art form. I will defend it because I think I have changed my mind a lot as far as that's. Oh my god, I'm losing my voice. But yeah, that's pretty much my entire degen journey in a nutshell. TLDR version. Well, not even TLDR, I fucking ranted for over 26 minutes. But also, one thing I want to mention is that I don't want the takeaway of this video to be that, you know, watching anime turned me into a deviant or into a degen, or it turned me into a hikikomori or a NEET, or made me antisocial. I think it's the addictive behavior itself that made me asocial, or you know, all that stuff. And as far as turning me into a hikikomori, making me nihilistic and stuff like that, I know some people have commented that stuff, but I don't think anime is inherently nihilistic. I think, in fact, a lot of anime actually criticizes nihilism, but it's just that, you know, my sort of change in demeanor is completely independent of anime. Also, I was a hiki NEET long before I went on this anime binge, and prior to that, the only animes that I watched were fucking shonen anime, which is the complete opposite of the hiki NEET lifestyle. So, you know, I don't think those arguments that anime turned me into what I am now hold any water. You know, obviously, there's the argument that if anime never existed, then perhaps I would be normal. But, you know, perhaps I would turn to even worse addictions, like, you know, simping for fucking, you know, lazy Twitch thoughts and donating fucking super chats and spending my parents' money on fucking super chats. That's far worse than you know, than buying anime merch, because at least people who make anime merch are actually putting in effort in creating a product. Most, you know, Twitch thoughts are just, you know, selling their body. They're basically just softcore prostitutes, for lack of a better word. And I think it's far more predatory, because they're obviously string a lot of thirsty simps along and, you know, pretend to care about them, so they'll get donation money, and also just the fact that some of these streamers have to go through, you know, also terrible amounts of, you know, social and public pressure and abuse. So if you ask me which is worse, anime or fucking Twitch streamers, I'd say Twitch streamers are way fucking worse for society as a whole in general. And most anime watchers really don't harm anybody. We're just, you know, self-contained, so contained in our own little bubbles of you know, hiki-nitum, or social isolation. We don't hurt anybody except ourselves, basically. So yeah, I think that's probably, I could talk on and on about that maybe for another video as well, but I kind of ranted about it anyway. Holy shit, my voice is almost fucking gone now. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I have to say as far as my journey goes. Some other I'm gonna leave my anime list in the description down below if anyone wants to check it out. You know, there's a few things on there that are kind of questionable, but just keep in mind that this is all completely and utterly ironic, me watching this shit, and it's really, I'm not being sarcastic when I say this, I'm actually being serious, even though my flat affect might not convey that, but that's just because I'm really tired right now, and also my voice is shot from having re-recorded this over and over again because it's just such a long topic. I think I condensed it down pretty well. I think the first time I shot this, it was like an hour long, but yeah, managed to actually condense it down to 30 minutes this time, which is pretty good. And yeah, I'll leave it down below, but I'll just name a few. Fucking Kiss Sis. It's pretty fucking hilarious in my opinion, but just like, I mean, if you guys want to get an idea of like sort of like guilty pleasure, like, you know, it's like you know it's so fucking bad, but you just can't stop watching. But it's just, I don't know, it's so degenerate that it ends up becoming, you know, ascended and actually based. I feel like Kiss This is a pretty good example of this. Pretty much all of the series that I mentioned before are also a good example of this. But you will find that my anime list is honestly mostly pretty normal. If you guys have any recommendations for DGen stuff that I should check out, please let me know in the comment section below. I have a lot of stuff that I want to watch that I haven't got to yet, but I'll probably get back to that once I climb out of the VTuber rabbit hole, which is another topic in itself by now. But anyways, probably ranting. This is Comfy Neat signing out, and peace.